Your instinct was right. You just kind of looked up and said, this doesn't feel right.
The trail just sort of disappeared below us, and we don't know where we missed a turn.
You're listening to the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show, the voice of Grand Canyon hiking. Presented by hiKin, hiking packs and gear built to help you hike your best hike. Here's your guide, Brian Special.
John Hance. He was known as the captain of the Grand Canyon. He was one of the first non-native settlers in the 1880s when he showed up and built a homestead near the South Rim, and he became well known for an exaggerated, shall we say, style of storytelling, apparently delighting at telling visitors tales of how the canyon was a failed dam project by ancient gods, or that it was carved by giant prehistoric beavers. Yeah, that John Hance, obviously a jokester, and a century and a quarter later, the joke is apparently on unsuspecting hikers and backpackers who dare take on what's now called the New Hance Trail. New Hance, as you might imagine, is the second iteration of the original Hance Trail, which was built to take tourists down into the canyon. It was improved and became New Hance in 1895. Though traversing it today makes you wonder, hey, if that's improved, I'd hate to see what the original trail was like. Yeah, it is rough. But New Hance does offer a direct route to the river. So when my friend Joe Adlock invited me on a one-day rim-to-river, I was quick to accept. Joe's a canyon vet and has been on New Hance many times before, but always as a backpacker. In fact, this would be his first ever rim-to-river hike in a day, which would ultimately cover 6.5 miles and almost 5,000 feet of elevation change each way. Yeah, New Hance is tough. Just getting there is a challenge because there's no signage or parking lot off of Highway 64, but my GPS did take me right to it. It's about 13 miles past the turnoff to South Kaibab on Highway 64, and after you find a spot to park off the road, it's about a quarter mile on a well-worn path through the trees to the trailhead, which is marked with signage. You can't miss it. From there, it's a straight dive into the canyon on a steep trail that appears, then disappears, and then appears again and gives you ample opportunity to test your route-finding skills for much of the way. So it's certainly wise to download a map before you go. It is one of the toughest trails on the South Rim. A trip down New Hance to the Colorado River, where we'd even witness a water rescue. Wait till you hear about that. This is the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show, powered by hiKin. Front access hiking pack so you can keep on moving. I wore my rim-to-rim pack for this one. Kept everything close. See our packs for yourself at hikin.club. That's HIKIN.club. So here we are. It is about 20 degrees. New Hance is covered in snow. And this is already, I think, one of the hardest trails on the South Rim for sure, right, Joe?
Absolutely.
So when I did this back in, I think it was November, December, as part of the South Rim 6-pack, which you coined and started and inspired me to do, I only went down a mile and I lost the trail 4 times, I think, in the first mile down. And it took me 2 hours to go a mile down and a mile back up. Does that sound about right?
Absolutely. First time we did it, we lost it 12 times on the way to the river.
That's the difference when you're backpacking. You can kind of take your time because you're going to a place and you're stopping. But for us today, we're doing this in a day. So we're going down and back. 6.5 miles, which is essentially the same as it is down South Kaibab to the Black Bridge. But these miles are not created the same as South Kaibab or the corridor trails.
No, they're a little rockier. Some of the steps are bigger.
We got to get down and get back up, and it is January, and we've only got 10 or 11 hours of daylight. So are you worried that we're going to be able to finish this?
I'm not worried that we'll finish it. Whether you leave me in the canyon and save yourself, that might be the case.
This is going to be an adventure. This is the most kind of gnarly thing that I've done so far on the South Rim. So I'm looking forward to it. I would never have even considered doing this had it not been with someone who's already done it before. So no pressure on you at all, Joe.
Nope.
All right, let's get after it, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay. Okay, we're only 0.2 of a mile down, But one thing that I've noticed so far from that's the biggest difference from when I did this when there was no snow is the snow, since there was traffic before us, actually makes the trail easier to follow. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I didn't expect that either. I didn't think anyone else would be stupid enough to do this trail right now.
Can you imagine being the first one on it after a snowfall?
No. If you got 3 inches of snow, I think the trail would just disappear.
What's this like, just seeing the sunrise in the canyon? You probably never get tired of it.
There is nothing like the sunrise in the canyon. Sunset's pretty good too because it's easier to stay up for. But yeah, sunrise in the canyon is something special. It's the beginning of a new day, a new adventure. Anything's possible. It's a clean slate. You get to write it. So it's just everything.
All right, we are a mile in, exactly 1,173 vertical feet. And so far, again, the surprise of this trip has been there's been traffic before us on the snow, which has made the trail easier to follow. We got lost 0 times on the way down. And when I did this trail back in the fall when there was no snow on it, or just a little bit of snow, I got lost when I was by myself 4 times just on the way down, and it took me 2 hours to go 2 miles. This time, we're at 47 minutes, and we've gone a mile. So our pace is good. We've been able to keep track of where we are, and we'll probably be able to ditch the spikes here pretty soon. There's still some snow and ice, so not quite yet. And you know how it is. Usually when you ditch the spikes, you come around the next corner and you wish you hadn't. So we'll wait until we're absolutely positive. It's warming up. The sun is rising over the canyon still. It's a glorious day on New Hance. Let's keep at it. All right, feels good to get those off. We are 1.63 miles in. We've been at it an hour and 13 minutes. And in that 1.6 miles, we're right at 1,900 feet of elevation. So very steep. It's going to feel very steep going out of here, but a lot still to see. So we are, 1.6. So we are still about just under 5 miles from the river. It's great. You get to this section just below the red wall, which is very steep and tough to get through. And you get just this little smooth section where the trail is really defined and it's relatively flat. And it feels like a really nice break. It feels like a reward. We are 3.5 miles in. We have descended 2,978 feet in 2 hours and 30 minutes. So, making good time, I think. I think it's going to be a little quicker from here to the river because we're past the steepest of the stuff, I think. Not a cloud in the sky. Cold, probably in the 40s right now. And optimum hiking conditions, I would call it. So great time to be in the canyon at the end of January when there's not a big winter storm rolling through. Now, even though we got away with it because of the tracks being easy to follow up top, New Hance still gives you ample opportunity to get lost, even when you're paying attention. Just above Red Canyon, as we walked along some reddish, volcanic-looking loose gravel, Joe suddenly realized we'd gotten ourselves off trail.
Think you're on it?
But he did have a Garmin inReach with him, so we were able to see where we were on the device and eventually scramble our way back to the route. Yeah, you can see we've really gotten ourselves off trail. Your instinct was right. You just kind of looked up and said, this doesn't feel right.
The trail just sort of disappeared below us and we don't know where we missed a turn. But we're not real far. We're maybe 100 feet off.
Yeah, not too bad. And I see a couple of cairns up here, so we're not the first ones. So, hey, it's part of the New Hance adventure. Got to get lost at least once or twice, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's part of the fun.
All right. Able to bushwhack our way and find it again, but not a place that I would want to be after dark, let's say, without any cairns or anything. You're just kind of picking your way around, looking for something that could be trail, but we got it now, so all is well. But man, I said I would not hike this by myself, so I'm glad I'm with somebody for situations just like that. Really cool hearing and seeing the water running here at the bottom of this drainage. We crossed this drainage not too far ago and it was completely dry, so there's a perennial water source somewhere feeding this, but this little slot canyon here is just absolutely gorgeous. You got different colors, different layers. Obviously the water has run through here for eons and has just created this this magical little slot canyon. Super, super cool. About 4.5 miles into the hike. Definitely a highlight of the trip to this point. Spectacular. So we're almost 5 miles in now, and elevation 4,155 feet is what I have. And we've been at this for 3 hours and 25 minutes. So apparently now we just kind of hike down through this creek bed, through this drainage, and it's a little bit easier. Feels good on the feet, feels good on the legs, and a little bit of a different experience. The more layers you come down through into the Grand Canyon, the more different footing, elevation, and general hiking experiences you have. So it's like it's always changing. Pretty awesome.
Quit losing your rhythm. Every time you stop and dig through your pack, that's just what happens. hiKin packs are designed to keep you moving with 6 front shoulder strap pockets that put your snacks, water, and essentials right where you need them. Our Rim to Rim pack and Canyon Elite are both Canyon Tough and ready for any day hike on Earth. For your longer days, choose Canyon Elite. It's got a hip belt. Stay in rhythm and hike your best hike at hikin.club. That's HIKIN.club.
Okay, I got to tell you, this hike through the Red Canyon Creek bed was just awesome. It was mostly easy, but there were some spots where you had to work your way down some boulders. And we also got to see what I thought was one of the coolest parts of the hike, the remnants of a gigantic rock slide that probably started 1,000 feet or more above us on the left. And they'd taken out an entire slope that's hundreds of yards wide, so you've got all that red interrupted by giant white boulders. Quite a contrast, and just an awesome thing to see. And one of those moments where you just know the video and pictures you capture will not come close to doing justice to what your own eyes are telling you. This is a really cool perspective as we walk through this drainage. And you look up and you see how there's just this gigantic rock fall up here that happened who knows how long ago. But we're in the middle of this creek bed, essentially. And you can see how these rocks, these giant boulders, have planted themselves in the middle of this creek bed, in the middle of this drainage. It's a real good visual of why at the bottom of drainages in the Grand Canyon, such as at the bottom of this, you'll find Hance Rapid. And at the bottom of other drainages in the Grand Canyon is where you typically find the rapids, because displaced boulders have gotten themselves into the river channel right there, and that's what helps create the rapids. So I just thought this is a really cool visual as we walk down here, down the new Hance Trail, almost to the river. But just imagine what this rockfall sounded like, looked like, whenever it happened. It's so much bigger and grander than what you'll be able to see on video. Just an incredible thing to see with the naked eye. Amazing. Shortly after the boulder field comes the roar. Hance Rapid, one of the fiercest in the canyon, just ahead. I can't tell you how satisfying it is to come around the corner after walking through this riverbed for so long, this creek bed for so long, and to see the Colorado, finally. We've heard it for a long time. Hance Rapid just roaring. Man, this is so awesome. It's just so satisfying. It's such a perfect payoff at the end of a long, difficult down climb. God, what a spot. Oh my God, look at this. Let's go. Woo! Yes, this is freaking amazing. Oh, this is just gorgeous. Huge bonus for us. We got down to Hance Rapid just as a river trip is coming through. We're gonna get to watch them navigate Hance Rapid. This is gonna be awesome. And it was. But everybody was about to get more than they bargained for. The river trip, a non-commercial one this time of year made up of 5 or 6 rafts, stopped just upriver opposite us, and everyone made a short climb to have a look at Hance, kind of scout it out and choose their line. Not long after, they were back in the rafts and pushing off. But no sooner did the first boat enter the rapid than it got stuck immediately. Seeing this, the next one through, a smaller 2-man raft, was able to furiously paddle to a stop in the middle of the rapid. It's one of the craziest things I have ever seen, with one of the men then stepping out onto the boulders Yeah, right in the middle of Hance Rapid, probably 100 feet downriver from the stuck boat. Look, I don't know anything about this stuff, but I know that first boat out there, that was the first one through, and they got themselves stuck. And so you got these guys in the middle of the rapids. I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, they can't get to them, so I don't know what these guys that are standing out here in the middle are gonna do, but they've been stuck for about 5 minutes right there at the head of Hance Rapid. And I don't know how they're gonna get themselves unstuck. I don't know what happened to them, but yeah, they're stuck. They were the first boat through, and they've been out there for about 5 minutes now. It's really hard to imagine the utter panic that they must be feeling right now, being stuck and with nobody able to get to them to help, and with not knowing how they're gonna get out of this situation. Now, right about then, the two rafters who were stuck were able to grab onto a rope thrown by the total badass standing in the middle of Hance Rapid on a boulder, and they were able to pull themselves free. Now, while all this was happening, the other raft successfully made it through, and one of their occupants, a young lady named Kaya, had come down the beach to where Joe and I were standing to watch. Okay, Kaya, we just saw some drama there. Tell us what we saw.
So what we saw was we were entering into the duck pond where we initially wanted to go, and then we just got surfed, and they kept getting surfed, and thankfully we didn't have a flip, but threw out the throw bag and got out, and now we got a couple bags to go chase. So what
do you think that was going through their minds as they were stuck?
They were freaking out, man. They were getting tired. I couldn't imagine. That's just a very stressful situation to be in, but hopefully we're all good and we're out of Hance. So.
Is it stressful for you guys too to watch and not be able to do anything?
Absolutely, yeah.
There's nothing you can do, right?
I don't want my boats to flip out there. These are 2,000-pound boats. We gotta flip back over. They're heavy.
So if nothing else, they have a memory.
They have a memory. We have memories, and we were expecting that out of Hance. So it's no joke out here.
So that was crazy. First boat through, gets itself stuck. They're stuck out there for 5 to 10 minutes, probably closer to 10 minutes. Getting tired, trying to extricate themselves from the situation, and eventually they did, and went happily on their way. But man, I can't imagine the panic that they were feeling as they were just stuck out there for that amount of time, trying to figure out how they could dislodge their boat or whatever it was that was happening out there. So what an event to witness. It was something else. By the way, the folks on the river trip would be the only humans we would see all day long. No hikers, no backpackers, nada. On the way out, it's just Joe and me and the increasing sounds of heavy breathing and labored footsteps. All right, just pulling out of the Hance Rapid area and beginning our ascent back up to the rim. We have about 6 hours of daylight left, and I think we should be okay, but it took us just over 4 hours to get down here, and the 6.5 miles going back up with about 5,000 vertical feet to gain. Gonna be a lot tougher. I think we can do it. Less than 6 hours. That is the goal, and this adventure will be complete. And now the hard work begins. So as usual, things are not going to be nearly as fun or nearly as beautiful and amazing on the way out. That's just kind of the nature of Grand Canyon hiking, but I feel like so far it's a 100 out of 10 day. Spectacular. Isn't it crazy how quiet it is out here? We don't say anything when we stop walking.
I don't hear a thing.
Nothing. It's pretty spectacular. How are you feeling? You did about an 8-mile hike yesterday on Hermit, which, if I would have known that, I might have encouraged you not to do that so that you were ready for today. But how are you feeling overall?
Oh, I feel okay. I'm slow as usual. And I have to take more frequent breaks to catch my breath than Brian does.
I don't mind the stopping, believe me, because it's so nice to be able to stop and look around. Like this spot that we're in right now, where we've just got this panoramic view of the canyon. It's gorgeous. And if we hadn't stopped to take a breath, we would have just marched right on through it. So important to stop and look around in the canyon whenever you get the chance, because it doesn't disappoint.
It's all illuminated by the sun now, whereas half of it was shaded earlier.
Steep, steep, steep. Almost the top of the red wall though. Got some big old boulder fields you gotta pick your way through from time to time here on New Hance. It's funny because when I was younger I wouldn't even thought anything of it, but the older I get, the more that you get out on those boulders and you're just it's like my mind is subliminally telling me that this is dangerous, this is not okay, be careful, don't take that step. It's like a restrictor plate in your mind. Kind of interesting. All right, we just hit 12 total miles, and we have, let's see. We've ascended about 3,500 vertical feet, so still have about 1,600 to go over the next mile and a half about, and then we'll be out of here. But it's definitely gotten tougher. We've definitely slowed down. I think we're gonna get done before dark, which is really the primary goal. Yeah, we're nearing that point where it's time to get out of here, and pretty soon we're gonna come back to the snow.
The show never ends in our Facebook group, and you're invited. Hike Club Grand Canyon is our private hiking community where you'll find Brian, Coach Arnie, and a legion of passionate Grand Canyon hikers of all experience levels there to help each other have their best possible Grand Canyon experience. So if you're serious about hiking the canyon the right way, this is where it starts. Search for Hike Club Grand Canyon on Facebook and join our conversation today.
How you feeling?
Stumbly.
Stumbly? What does stumbly mean?
Means I have generally overexerted for the day, which isn't a huge problem. I just have to be a little more careful. As I place my steps, I'm a little less balanced. I'll make it out, I always have, but I'm feeling it. This was a long hike.
But is that something you've noticed with age, the balance becomes more of an issue, and the stumbliness and the getting tired faster?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not 30 anymore. Not even 50 anymore, which was pretty good being at 50. But I've still got it. I've never attempted a hike in Grand Canyon I couldn't do, so let's hope we keep that streak going.
And again, this is Joe's first ever rim to river in one day. He has so much Grand Canyon experience that it's kind of hard to believe that, but it just never really occurred to you to do it all in one day.
No. I've always been a backpacker, so if we go to the river, we camp. I don't know that I would make a habit of it, honestly.
Yeah.
And I imagine this is similar to what a rim to rim is like in one day, which I've never done that.
For sure.
I've done rim to rim in 2 days, but never in one. So don't really know what that is like either.
Well, I think it's awesome that at the end you're going to be able to reflect, and now you've done something big like this in a day, and you'll probably decide that I'd rather do it in multiple days. And there's nothing wrong with that, man. I mean, that's getting to stop and chill and enjoy the canyon is like, we could have spent hours down there at the at Hance Rapid. We could have spent hours down there. It was so beautiful. It was so peaceful. It was fun watching the river trip come through. It was just fun being there. I mean, I could have just stayed there forever. So when you backpack, you get to do those things. When you're day hiking and trying to do this all in a day, and especially in the winter when the days are short, I mean, we're racing sunset now.
Yep. I'll be honest with you, Brian. I was very skeptical we would get out before it was time to put headlamps on. Now I think we will. But when we started this morning, I would have bet, we're coming out under headlamp.
Well, we're not done yet. We've got a mile and a half to go. Fortunately, I did remember my headlamp this time, so I'll be okay if we have to get out of here under artificial light, but I really don't want to, because the upper part of this trail, I'd rather be out in daylight. It's hard enough to follow in the daylight. So
yeah.
All right, let's get back at it. Finish this thing off.
Let's do it.
We're almost at that point where it's like, okay, it's time to be done. It's time to be done. But a little more work to do. Onward. All right, once again, as we pick our way through the Coconino sandstone here, as we get closer to the top, when you see a cairn out here, it can be the most reassuring thing in the world, because it's so easy to lose the trail in so many places. So when you do happen to run into a cairn, it's just very comforting. It makes you realize that you're not too far off track. Okay, I've gotten lost here before, and I think I just got us lost. I know we're lost.
Oh.
I just came around this corner and I saw this. And it looked familiar because when I was on New Hance a couple of months ago, I went to the exact same spot and I was lost. Like we knew what we were doing.
I'm sorry, I can't make the corner. And yes, you can include that in the video.
You know you don't have a choice.
Well, I have to make the corner, yeah, eventually. You guys that do rim to river for fun, you're crazy. Crazy.
Where is the trail? I think it's up here to the left. I think it has to be. I don't think there's any other place it could be. Because you're blocked off by the coconino over here.
None of this looks reasonable. I mean, not that this looks reasonable.
It's got to be up here. It's got to be. Famous last words. It's got to be up there. Got to be. Let me know, Joe.
Looks like, yeah, there's a lot of scrape marks from poles.
That's another thing if you're not sure if you're going the right way. Especially when you're on this coconino, the sandstone that's a little bit softer. You can see the marks from crampons and microspikes and from people's poles. And that can kind of give you a hint that you're in the right place. The question sometimes becomes, how do I film and hold my sticks and get up this at the same time? Ah. Anything for the shot, baby. Anything for the shot. Not anything, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Obstacles off corridor. Sometimes you gotta step over fallen trees. It's the final straightaway right here, pretty sure. There it is, baby. Let's go. Now I chose to mark the end of the hike by tapping the trailhead sign with my sticks. Yes, and Joe is right behind me. Joe, let's go, did it differently. It was a full smooch. Yeah. Hey, so how are we feeling?
Oh,
Finally finished. I mean,
it's awesome. My legs hurt, but that was expected. We got out with some daylight left.
Barely,
which was
man. We made it.
Unexpected by me. Fantastic day. Absolutely fantastic day.
You've done rim forever in a day now.
Would I
On
do
New
it-
Hance.
Would I do it tomorrow?
Oh, well, come
Probably
on.
not.
All in all, an amazing day. Getting all the way down to Hance Rapid. Just a fabulous day. New Hance, checked off the list.
It's done.
Thanks for doing it, man.
Hey, thank you for agreeing.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation. It was a joy, and there's much more to come in the years ahead. Let's go.
Let's go.
And that was a Rim to River on New Hance with Joe Adlock. Another unforgettable day below the rim. I should mention that this hike should not be attempted during the warmer months. There's little shade, and the only water you can be sure that you'll find is the Colorado. But during the winter months, hey, as long as there's not a lot of snow to deal with, and especially fresh snow, it is divine. Right at 13 miles and, well, about 10,000 vertical feet down and back up again. So a big, big day. Well, like all Grand Canyon hikes, this one took planning, maybe even more so than usual since I was venturing to parts unknown, for me at least. And it just so happens that planning is on Coach Arnie's mind. Here's our community's exercise physiologist and canyon coach on questions you need to be asking yourself before your training even begins.
This week's tip is, I'm calling it trained for your adventure, because I want to get a little granular now with you here. Because once you have decided what you want to do, you must break it down. You know, what's the timeline? When are you going to do this? How much time do you have to train? What does it look like? Okay. What skills do I need? You know, how's your endurance? How's your strength? Are you healthy? Are you overcoming injuries, foot problems, hip problems, back problems? These are all things that you must look into as far as training for your adventure. So what skills am I going to need? Also, depends on what you want to do. A rim to river is different than a rim to rim, or vice versa, or if you're on some other trail in the canyon. Because if you're just going down and up, those are much different muscles than hiking around the block or on a level trail. You've got to work on different muscles. And you got to focus on those downhill, uphill muscles. You got to work on posture and different things that may not be as important when you're hiking on a more level trail in your general area, or especially if you're a flatlander. So you got to work in those kind of details, and you got to think about it. It's important. It really is. So how must I design my program? How are you going to design your program? You must design your plan around these 4 areas: your travel, your lodging, your supplies, and your nutrition. Those are all the things that you must focus on. Those 4 things are super important before you really even start. Okay, so once you have all those things lined up, how's your travel? How's your lodging going to be done? What supplies are you going to need? And then your nutrition plan. Again, all these things, especially with the nutrition and supplies, you're going to be working on as you're training, but you got to know where you're starting from. You got to have some kind of an idea. And most people pick things up from their friends or other people or when they've done it before. And hopefully you're improving upon whatever you had done before. And then once all that is done from timeline to what you're going to do and all these things, you have a nice succinct plan put together. Guess what? Go to work, get after it, get some things done, and you will be ready for your adventure, not someone else's adventure, your specific adventure. I love you guys. Give me a call if you have any questions, and let's make this a great Grand Canyon season. I love you.
Coach Arnie Fonseca Jr. If you want to talk to Coach, he'd love to chat with you. His contact information, including his phone number, is in the show notes. Hey, if you found value in any of the 100-plus shows we've now done, can you believe it? Would you please take a minute or two to leave us a rating and review wherever you're listening? Would you please do that for us? That helps us get the show in front of the hikers who need us, and it makes us feel really good to know that y'all are out there taking this all in. So please, please, please leave us a review. Every single one of them is greatly appreciated. Thanks in advance for that. All right, that is it for now. My name is Brian Special, encouraging you, as always, to go hike the canyon. You can do it. Take that first step. Embrace the journey. And when you get there, whether it's for time goals or taking your time, just hike your own hike and savor every hard-earned step in the magnificent Grand Canyon. We'll see you next time on the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show, powered by hiKin. Support the brand that supports this show at hikin.club. That's HIKIN.club.